This is Living Power with Dan Hurst.
All right. I want to get started. We're going to do things a little differently today. And come on. All right. We're going to team teach today. This will be a little different, and I think I'm doing it this way intentionally because I value Randy's insight and what he's. A lot of you don't know Randy Shepard is. Good Lord, the guy's probably one of the smartest people on there. He's got a PhD. I don't know what that means, but he's got he's got a PhD, and he's a financial counselor. He's a pastor. He's just one of these guys you don't really like after you get to know him for a while, and because you just think you feel inferior to him. But he's working on a book on angels, and so he's really quite an authority on angels. And today we're going to start looking at these four creatures that are surrounding the throne. And so I thought it would be good to involve him in what we're studying and maybe shed some light on our study. So that being said, Sharon, you're going to have to kind of just figure out where we are as we go through the lesson. It'll be interesting. And so have patience with Sharon, because she may not figure out where we are and what we're doing. We may not either. I want to share some of the new stuff that's going on before we get started, bring you up to speed. Here's the first news thing that came out just the day before yesterday. Israel is bracing itself, taking measures to cope with more violence at the end of an already horrific week. In the past 48 hours, there have been 11 attacks against Israelis and countless violent confrontations between Arabs and Israeli police. 3 weeks ago, when the violence began on the Temple Mount, 800 additional policemen were drafted to cope with the situation in Jerusalem. Police are preparing for continued violence over the weekend. Muslim men under the age of 45 are barred from the Temple Mount, while women of any age can enter. Non-Muslim visitors are only allowed to enter the site at specific hours and are banned by police from praying there. Police have set up metal detectors at the entrances to Jerusalem's Old City. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu drew sharp criticism from all sides on Thursday when he banned all politicians, Arab and Jew, from visiting the Temple Mount. Jerusalem Mayor, watch this, Jerusalem Mayor Barkat called for all Israelis with valid gun licenses to carry weapons. Given the current escalation in the security situation, those with a licensed firearm who know what to do with it must go out with their weapon. It's an imperative. You'll never hear our government saying that, but that's the way things are right now in Jerusalem. This is a military intelligence post. There's an oxymoron there if there ever was one. Russia, without saying so publicly, has created an effective no-fly zone over most of Syria. This is really, really serious. They've created an effective no-fly zone over most of Syria, most of northern Israel, including the Golan, as well as southern Turkey for U.S. aircraft based there for airstrikes. In Syria, Cyprus, or in those airstrikes in Syria, Cyprus, the site of British Air Force's bases, and Jordan. So what that means is that our military, our Air Force over there, as well as British Air Force, are now restricted to a no-fly zone. Russia has told us that we can't fly our planes without their permission, is what it said. Since 2012, the Obama administration has been discussing the possibility of establishing no-fly zones in northern and southern Syria on a number of occasions, but has shelved the plan whenever a decision was imminent. Now, with one move, Moscow has imposed a no-fly zone over Syria. The presence of the wide-ranging S-300s means that the Turkish, British, Israeli, and Jordanian air forces will need to coordinate their aerial operations in Syrian or Lebanese airspace with Russia, or face the risk of their planes being shot down. So now we're in a situation where we are being told when we can fly our planes and when we can't. Not only us, but everybody at that point. This is a good point, a good time to just mention again. It looks like, I think I mentioned this in the study guide, November the 15th, Sunday the 15th, is when I'm going to start taking a look at the Battle of Gog and Magog. We don't know if that's really what is shaping up, but it sure does look like it, and it certainly fits the biblical description. So I'm going to get into that, not
for fear-mongering, that's not my point. But my point is, let's take a look at what's happening in the world today and compare it to what the Bible says. And it's amazing how similar, how the foundation is there for Gog and Magog, battle of Gog and Magog. You may not really know what that is, but we'll get into that. And it's a battle that was prophesied in Ezekiel and I think Zechariah. But we'll take a look at that and study that. And if you've got friends or family that would be interested in studying, learning more about what this battle of Gog and Magog is all about, and probably be hearing more about it as we get along here in a few more days. Because even some Jewish rabbis now are saying, this looks like the battle of Gog and Magog shaping up. One Jewish rabbi has already said, this is the battle of Gog and Magog. He said that that's what it is. So I don't know how he has more insight than anybody else, but it's interesting how everything is setting up, and we're going to take a look at that. So that'll be November the 15th. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei on Wednesday banned any further negotiations between Iran and the U.S. Negotiations with the United States open gates to their economic, cultural, political, and security influence, Khamenei said, adding that talks with the U.S. brought only disadvantages to Iran. We are in a critical situation now as the enemies are trying to change the mentality of our officials and our people on the revolution and our national interests. Another news story. Gulf Arab countries have ramped up their supply of weapons to Syrian rebel groups in response to Russia's escalating military support of President Assad. Russia's military campaign in Syria will almost certainly provoke counter-escalation by regional states, namely Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Qatar, and that remain absolutely committed to ensuring Assad's demise. So what we're seeing happen now is, now that Russia is set up, now arms and supplies are coming in to the rebels, and it's just really shaping up. It's really an ugly, ugly mess that is shaping up over there right now. One more little news piece that I found really, really fascinating. This is a writer for, actually she writes for a number of different organizations, CNN, one of them, but this is for a news source called Foreign Policy. This is what she was traveling, and she went to Iran, and this is part of what she wrote about her experience in Iran. For the only theocracy in the region, Iran seems much less overtly concerned with religion than its Sunni neighbors, and the only country in the Middle East where people are more secular than their government. 5 days into my stay, I suddenly realized something was missing: the call to prayer. It echoes through all Arab cities at varying decibels 5 times a day. In Tehran, you hear the call to prayer once a week on Friday at noon, and prayers are held at one central location, Tehran University. Across the country, in every town and city, prayers are held in one designated mosque. Mosque attendance is low in Iran. In Tehran, a city of 12 million, there are roughly 10,000 loyalists who show up on Friday. So we look at the news, and the news talks about, oh, you know, the Muslims are taking over, the Muslims. And here is Iran, that where most of the people in Iran aren't even practicing Muslims. You know, not according to what Muslim faith demands. And they would call themselves Muslims, but apparently they're very secular in Iran itself. That's amazing to me. That stunned me when I saw that. I thought, oh my goodness, I didn't know that. I'll tell you what it does. It opens the door for the gospel. It opens the door for the gospel because people are looking for answers, and these people are saying, this is not our answer. That's why they don't go. That's why they don't attend.
On behalf of Dan Hurst and the Open Class, we want to thank you for watching. We hope it was a blessing.